Hi Gemini, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your September 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as will be in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac, starting with your sign. Gemini is the first house, all the way through to Taurus representing the 12th. And when we get through that main spread, we'll actually pull an oracle card for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we have the Brady tarot. For the oracle card, we'll be using the Wisdom Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off how World knows astrology actually in front of us to get an idea where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have the South Node. And the South Node is actually in Leo, which is your third house of communication, short journeys, and siblings. And South Node can be about release sometimes. Also, maybe some hidden talents coming back around that you might have, not even known you had. So things along those lines. But I also see Leo energy coming up here. Looks like third house energy is definitely going to be significant for you guys, which is fitting, right? You guys are the natural rulers of the third house, so there's that. And we just talked about what Leo energy is, so I won't emphasize it again. And we have 5. So fifth house energy points to romance, creativity, children. And for you guys, your fifth house is Libra. As far as what's going on there, currently we have Venus there for an extended stay at that, and it's actually going to be in its pre-shadow phase at the very end of August, and then on the 10th it will eventually move into Scorpio. But yeah, so at least for a bit you'll have the Venus energy going for you guys in the 5th house. We'll have Mercury in there as well, pretty much from the 10th till close to the end of the month, and that's your ruler, of course. What else? Actually, that might be it for the Libra energy. Of course, in October, it'll be a full moon a new moon in the Libra, but quite a bit going on. And actually, since there is quite a bit going on in Leo as well, we'll talk about this a little bit more. So, the time I'm recording this, we're still technically in Leo season, so there's that. Mercury's going to be in there for a few more days, too, before it moves into Virgo. We have Jupiter there for an extended stay, too, so definitely quite a bit going on with your third house, so it makes sense to see the dice roll out that way, but we'll move on to the main spread for now. So for your first house, which points to personality, self-awareness, appearance, we have the Chariot. So this is actually the major arcana card for Cancer, and to me the Chariot a lot of times points to sometimes like fated journeys, so you might just feel like you're being pulled along surprisingly fast as well at times, but this could just be what you guys could be experiencing this month. It does make me think of the fact that pretty much right when we're about to wrap up the month of August here, we'll actually have that full moon eclipse in Pisces, which is your 10th house of career and social status. Then, of course, in around the 10th of September, we're actually going to have Uranus, which is in your sign, start a retrograde cycle. So there are going to be some significant shifts happening for you guys this month, but that's what I see there. So for your second house of possession, self-worth, and finances, we have oppression. So this is actually a Gemini energy here. It's the equivalent of the 8 of Swords in most decks. And yeah, seeing this here could just be saying that you might feel like there's just a lot of movement in that area, right? And maybe not to your liking. So super generic example of how this could be playing out, right? It could just be saying you might have unexpected expenses coming up out of nowhere, right? So it could just be one of those things where you might feel like, okay, even if you're having some successes, right? Let's say with the Chariot, you might feel like before you could even enjoy those successes, all of a sudden these expenses start coming up out of the blue, or there's just maybe some heavier financial decisions you might need to make, things along those lines there. So could just feel a little bit overwhelming in the moment. So for your third house energy, which again, we saw the significance of that with the dice as well, but we have celebration. So definitely a good energy to see here, right? So we talked about how third house is communication, short journey, siblings. So especially given that we just saw the oppression energy in the second house, between this and seeing the Chariot in the first house, I feel like this is saying that overall, you're still going to feel like there's a something to celebrate. You can feel like you have some wins. This could point to connecting with people close to you, right? So maybe your inner circle, you're going to be sharing some good news with them. Um, this is just a light energy in general. And this is Cancer and energy too, which for you guys is your second house of finances. So, yeah. So, again, like I said, it could just be one of those things where the finances might be there. You just might feel like they're going right back out as soon as they come in. But in the long run, they'll probably clear itself out, right? So for your fourth house of home roots and family, we have the daughter of arrows, and this is actually the equivalent of the page of swords. So for some of you, maybe this could even be saying that you might have moved recently, right? So maybe that's what the expenses were about. Like, okay, now I moved, all the expenses that come with that, or maybe those bills are coming in, right? Things along those lines there. But this could just be saying maybe you're exploring a new environment, right? Maybe even connecting with family that have been close to you to an extent, but maybe you're having communication with them that you hadn't had over the years, and it's almost surprising there. It's like getting to know them all over again, things along those lines there, but definitely a light, playful energy nonetheless. All right, so for your fifth house, which we saw at the dice as well, we have the Hanged One. So this is the equivalent of the Hangman. Usually I view this as a Piscean energy. So yeah, could just be saying that maybe you might feel a little bit stuck when it comes to your creativity this month. And again, that could be due to, like we said, we're going to have Venus in this sign for you guys, and then it's going to start its uh, pre-retrograde shadow, so that could be part of it. But yeah, I feel like this is saying that you could just feel a little bit blocked right now when it comes to your creativity. I feel like maybe there's the ideas might be flowing on the one hand, but you might feel like you can't really lock it in or can't really move it out of the idea phase into actually bringing it into the reality. So that could have you feeling a little bit stuck this month. All right. So for your sixth house of health, work, and daily routines, we have the Magician. So yeah, so seeing this here is definitely a good indicator to me because it says that in those, obviously sixth house can incorporate a lot, like we just mentioned, but whether it be work, right? This is saying you have the tools at your disposal to turn things around in a positive manner there. If it's around your daily routines, right? Even if you're like, okay, I'm maxed out here. I have a lot of expenses I'm dealing with, right? A lot of movement, right? Like I said, maybe somebody physically moved home. It could just be one of those things where this is finding the creative ways to balance out your daily routine, right? To where you could actually get it all done without losing your mind. Things along those lines there. But this can also just be saying that if there's some problem solving needed within your work environment too, you have the tools at your disposal to actually make it happen. All right, so for your seventh house of partnerships, contracts, relationships, we have the Daughter of Horns. So this is actually the equivalent of the Page of Cups. So yeah, so for some of you, this could just be saying maybe some of you have taken a relationship to the next level. Now, not like super solidified, married or anything with, given that it's a page energy, but, if you've just been casually seeing someone, maybe you're making it a little bit more formal at least, or at least moving in that direction, getting closer to each other. So definitely good energy to see there. And then if this is more of a partnership in a business sense, right? It could just be saying that, yeah, maybe you guys are actually starting to connect with each other in more creative ways, right? Start to get the creativity flowing between you, right? So, which would help, right? If you feel like you're stuck on something a little bit, maybe this other person could come along and help the ideas flow a little bit for you. So, for your eighth house of death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have work. So, this is the three of roots, which is the equivalent of the three of pentacles in a lot of decks, Capricorn energy, and that's actually your natural eighth house placement too. So that's a good thing to see there. But yeah, could just be saying that you're actually building strong foundations when it comes to what you invest in, right? Whether it be physically investing with your resources or just your time, your energy, right? Could just be saying that you're laying that foundation now, or for some of you, you might have already laid that foundation and you're starting to see those things work for you, right? So, like that saying, letting your money work for you, you could be reaching that stage, or at least setting the stage to do so. All right, so for your ninth house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have apathy. This is the Four of Horns, Four of Cups in most decks, and seeing this here, it's a Cancerian energy too. Could just be one of those things where it could just be saying your attitude around money might be changing, right? So again, so it's just a super generic example of how it could be playing out, right? So maybe, okay, you got the Chariot, the Magician, right? You get recognition at work, you get some kind of promotion, a raise, right? And then along with that, it seems like as soon as you do, you're like, oh, right, this is what I was working toward. And then all of a sudden you have these expenses out of the blue, right? And that starts to make you feel a little bit jaded maybe around the whole thing, right? We're like, what is this all about, you know? Um, so it doesn't have to necessarily be that. But yeah, I feel like this is saying, given that the Cancerian energy for you is more of a financial thing and seeing this in the ninth house, that could be what's changing for you guys to an extent, is maybe how you think about money. Uh, Now, it could just be a short term thing too, given that it's just, a regular minor arcana card. All right, so for your 10th house of career and social status, we have swiftness. This is the 8 of feathers and 8 of wands in most decks. And to see the Sagittarius energy here in your 10th house, could be playing out either way right now. Depends on perspective, right? Birds probably going to come out a little bit better off in the situation than the other animals. So it could just be one of those things where either way, swiftness to me seems to be the key, right? So some of you might feel like you get swept up in something when it comes to your work, right? So again, like we said, maybe that's the oppression thing where you're like, okay, it could be overwhelming. You just feel like things are coming at you from every angle. But for others, you just could just be saying, you know, a good opportunity might come your way swiftly as well. You can see that playing out either way, which interestingly to see the magician bridge between those two, right? I could see that going either way, but um, if there is an either or scenario of that, I feel like that would be a good reminder to think about what we were saying with the magician, which is to say that you do have the tools at your disposal to turn things in your favor. All right, so for the 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have guile. So this is the 7 of arrows, or in some decks, the 7 of swords. So yeah, so this is an energy that can point to some deception. So maybe that's what it's coming down to, right? Maybe you're on this trajectory within your careers and it's a forward, positive one, and there might be people who are trying to hitch along for the ride, right? And then, but what are they contributing, right? So it could just be one of those things to watch out for there. Or even, they might try to swoop in and take your opportunity, right? That could be what the artwork is pointing to there. So just something to watch out for. Just keep an eye on your environment. I don't think it's going to necessarily pan out in their favor, but again, just something to at least watch out for, right? Because even if you do end up on the winning end of the situation, it'd still be good to observe who did what and what they were trying to do in those moments to know how to act around them moving forward. And for your 12th house energy, which points to spirituality, blind spots, mental health, we have breach. So this is the 7 of horns, 7 of cups in a lot of decks. And yeah, seeing this here, maybe that's pointing to what we see with the hanged one, which is just you just have too many ideas in your head right now, right? To where none of them end up taking shape because there's just too much going on. So if that's the case, it could just be saying to you, try to at least easier said than done for Gemini sometimes, right? But try to quiet your minds somewhat and clear the deck and then focus on the most important things, the ones that you feel like would gain the most traction, and start with those. And then, once the ball gets rolling with those and they start to sustain themselves, then maybe you could take on more at that point. But yeah, it seems like you just have too many things in your minds right now. All right, bottom of the deck, we have power. So this is the 7 of feathers, 7 of wands in most decks, Leo energy here. So yeah, so to me, this is a good indicator too of what we were saying, right? That even if someone does try to challenge you, right, or you feel like you're outnumbered in some situation, I feel like it's saying that it'll work out in your favor anyway. But might be less than ideal to even have to go there, but looks like it'll you guys will come out on top anyway. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. I'll give this a few shuffles, then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. All right. get this out of the way and we'll see what you got. All right, we have Loyal Heart. There's the artwork, and the number is 35. So it's a good message to see there too, especially with that 11th house energy, right? So at the very least, this could be an indicator that, yeah, most in your circle might be um, looking out for what's best for you, but we'll see what it says in the book. All right, essential meanings says fidelity, loyalty, devotion. The oracle's message: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. Others will prove they are faithful to you, and you will in turn commit fully to them. There is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected, and divinely directed. So I do like to see that message too. Like we said, given that oppression energy, right? It could feel a little bit heavy. Guile, like we said as well, the either or energy that we're seeing with the swiftness in the artwork there. And then, like I mentioned, with the magician, looking like you have the tools at your disposal, right? So that could be Spirit's role there, along with the chariot, right? Saying that, hey, you're being led on a path even you might not understand yet, but in that comes the feeling of trying not to be fearful of the outcome. The relationship message says your partnerships, friendships, and romantic relationships all have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. So yeah, so definitely a positive message there. And given that we do see that, I would have to say for 11th house energy, anyway, seeing the guile there, it's a reminder for me to say, hey, make sure you're not the ones who are trying to cut corners in some way with those around you, right? The prosperity message says your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions where your aspirations for success assume form and reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans while remaining flexible, and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit, your manifesting partner. So yeah, I definitely like that message as well. Even though you wouldn't naturally think that, that made me actually think of the work card that we see in the 8th house first, because like I said, this could be the foundations you laid a while back, and now actually reaping the rewards from them. But yeah, overall interesting reading there. Hopefully that resonated for you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.